At 1 in the morning, I stood a wide-eyed and naive 19-year-old in the delivery room of a Ugandan hospital. The craziness was apparent as 4 women gave birth inside the room. Another 4 midwives and nurses ran around while the normally lighthearted OBGYN, Dr. Bexon, decided on whether or not to perform a cesarean section. The hustle of the delivery room continued well into the night, and soon enough, my eyes were bloodshot. I walked over to the calmer side of the room to take a break, where my tired eyes caught the infant warmer. I went up to the machine and looked inside to see a newborn swaddled in a tiny pink blanket. She was calm despite the extensive ordeal she had just experienced. After about 30 seconds, I returned to everybody on the other side of the room, but my mind wandered back to this person born only a few moments earlier. My pensive side reflected on this unknown child. Where was she from? What was her family like? I couldn't help but think, what kind of a life was she destined to live? How much of it was in her control, and how much of it has been predetermined by the circumstances in the society around her? I grapple with these questions still today. The concepts of power and privilege seemed more evident to me then, in her life, than in any situation I had previously encountered in my own. My perspective on society and subsequently the world changed because of my time in northern Uganda. In that moment, and in the period of reflection after, I was paralyzed by many different thoughts that I was introduced to and was now aware of. After deeper contemplation, I started to see myself become less self-serving and less self-centered. I had always wondered why I'd felt this urge to become a doctor, and I didn't really understand why at that point in time. As I look back on it, this was the first time that I began to understand the power of empathy. Empathy is a word that gets used a lot, but I didn't grasp the depth of that word until that moment. I became cognizant of what it means to care about others, and I started to notice the great influence that indifference and furthermore fear can have in my life. I never learned the name of this little girl, but I didn't need to. She inspired and sparked a change within me to understand how indifference and fear play a role in my life. It was enough to motivate me to critically think about what I believe in and to be courageous for what I believe is right, something I'm not so sure I would have comprehended without her. I think the namelessness is a poignant reminder of the delicate nature of this thing called life.